curriculum design. The first one is the subject-centered design. The second one is the learner-centered design. And the third one is the problem-centered design. The first one, let us understand the subject-centered design and three variations of it.
Subject-centered design. This is the curriculum design that focuses on the content of the curriculum. It corresponds mostly to the textbooks because usually textbooks written based on the specific course or subject.
And now let's proceed to the different variations of the subject-centered design. The first variation of subject-centered design is the subject design. This is the oldest and so far the most familiar design for teachers, parents, and other laymen. The second one is the discipline design. This curriculum design model is related to the subject design. Subject design centers only to the cluster of content. On the other hand, discipline design focuses on academic disciplines. The third one is the correlation design. Coming from a core, correlated curriculum design links separate subject designs in order to reduce fragmentations. The last variation of subject-centered design is the broad-field design, or also called as interdisciplinary. Broad-field design or interdisciplinary is a variation of the subject-centered design that was made to cure the compartmentalization of the separate subjects and integrate the contents that are related to one another. The second type of the curriculum design is the learner-centered design.
For the learner-centered design, among the progressive educational psychologists, the learner is the center of educative process.
And now let's proceed to the different variations of the learner-centered design. The first variation of the learner-centered design is the child-centered design. This design is often attributed to the influence of John Dewey, Rousseau, Pestalozzi, and Froebel. This curriculum design is anchored to the needs and interests of the child. The learner is not considered a passive individual, but one who engages with his or her environment. The second one is the experience-centered design. This design is similar to the child-centered design. Although the focus remains to be the child, experience-centered design believes that the interests and the needs of the learners cannot be pre-planned. Instead, experiences of the learners become the starting point of the curriculum. Thus, the school environment is left open and free. The last variation is the humanistic design. In humanistic curriculum design, the development of the self is the ultimate objective of learning. It stresses the whole person and the integration of thinking, feeling, and doing. It considers the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains to be interconnected and must be addressed in the curriculum. It stresses the development of positive self-concept and interpersonal skills. And for the last type of the curriculum design is the problem-centered design.
For the problem-centered design, it draws on social problems, interests, needs, and abilities of the learners.
And for the different variations of the problem-centered design. The first variation of the problem-centered design is the life situations design. What makes this design unique is that the contents are organized in ways that allow students to clearly view problem areas. It uses the past and the present experiences of learners as a means to analyze the basic areas of living. As a starting point, the pressing immediate problems of the society and the students' existing concerns are utilized. Another variation of problem-centered design is core problem design. It centers on general education and the problems are based on the common human activities. The central focus of the core design includes common needs, problems, and the concerns of the learners. And now let us finally proceed to the different approaches to curriculum design.
The first approaches to curriculum design is the child or learner-centered approach. This approach to curriculum design is based on the underlying philosophy that the child or the learner is the center of the educational process. It means that the curriculum is constructed based on the needs, interests, purposes, and abilities of the learners. The curriculum is also built upon the learner's knowledge, skills, previous learnings, and potentials. For example, School X is anchored on the theory of multiple intelligences in all its curricular and co-curricular activities. Every classroom provides activity centers where children can learn on their own with different learning resource materials. Learners can just choose which learning center to engage in with different resources. This arrangement allows for the capacity of every learner to be honed. It also allows learning how to learn, hence will develop independence. The teacher acts as guide for every learner. The learner sets the goal that can be done within the frame of time.
The second approach to the curriculum design is the subject-centered approach. This is anchored on a curriculum design which prescribes separate distinct subjects for every educational level: the basic education, higher education, or vocational technical education. This approach considers the following principles. First, the primary focus is the subject matter. Second, the emphasis on bits and pieces of information which may detach from life. Third, the subject matter serves as a means of identifying problems of living. Fourth, learning means accumulation of content or knowledge. The last, the teacher's role is to dispense the content. The example of subject matter is, in another setting, School Y aims to produce the best graduates in the school district. Every learner must excel in all academic subjects to be on top of every academic competition. The higher the level of cognitive intelligence is, the better the learner. Hence, the focus of learning is mastery of the subject matter in terms of content. Every student is expected to be always on top in terms of mastery of discipline. Memorization, the drill are important learning skills. The school gives emphasis to intellectual development and sets aside emotional, psychomotor, and even value development. Success means mastery of the content.
The last approach to curriculum design is problem-centered approach. This approach is based on the design which assumes that in the process of living, children experience problems. Thus, problem-solving enables the learners to become increasingly able to achieve complete or total development as individuals. This approach is characterized by the following views and beliefs. The first one is the learners are capable of directing and guiding themselves in resolving problems, thus developing every learner to be independent. The second one is the learners are prepared to assume their civic responsibilities through direct participation in different activities. And last, the curriculum leads the learners in the recognition of the concern and problems in seeking solutions. Learners are problem solvers themselves. Example of the problem-centered approach is presented. School Z believes that a learner should be trained to solve real-life problems that come about because of the needs, interests, and abilities of the learners. Problems persistent in life and society that affect daily living are also considered. Most of the school activities revolve around finding solutions to problems like poverty, drug problems, climate change, natural calamities, and many more. Since the school is using a problem-based design, the same approach is used. Case study and practical work are the teaching strategies that are utilized. Problem-centered approach has become popular in many schools.
We have given examples of curriculum design and the corresponding approaches. Again, the choice of the design is influenced by the philosophical and psychological beliefs of the designer. It is very important that as a curricularist, you fully understand the curriculum design models and how to approach each one. That's all for today. Thank you for watching this video. Just don't forget to like and subscribe this educational YouTube channel. And that's all. Thank you!